98.1 KZE. On the phone with me today, it's Joe Raiola. He is the artistic director at Theater Within, an organization that does really great work for folks affected by cancer. Joe, thank you so much for hopping on with me today.
MK, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so tell me the story of Theater Within, because you're going to do a better job than I can.
Well, Theater Within started out a long time ago in 1962 as an experimental performance workshop. It was founded by Alec Rubin, and in those days, Al Pacino was a member of the group, and Jerry Ragney, who went on to write Hair. And over the years, the organization evolved. Actually became somewhat well known in 1980. That was the year that John Lennon was shot in New York. And actually, the following summer, Theater Within produced the first ever John Lennon tribute in New York City, and it became a neighborhood event on the Upper West Side. And I was involved with the workshop going back to the late 70s. And just a long story short, over years, the organization evolved. I founded it as a not-for-profit in 2006. And true to our roots, we're still doing workshops and theater-related work, and right now we're focusing on providing free workshops in creative expression and mindfulness for children and adults impacted by cancer. And we also do something called the John Lennon Real Love Project, which is a songwriting program that we bring to elementary and middle schools in the area.
That is so incredibly cool. Thank you for doing all that work, first and foremost.
Well, thanks. We have good inspiration. It doesn't get much better than John Lennon as an inspiration to do all this creative and life-affirming work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about Theater Within and kind of the mission to bring those workshops to folks affected by cancer. So where did that idea come from?
You know, my dad died of a glioblastoma in 2002, and that had a big impact on my life. At the same time, George Harrison was dying of brain cancer as well, and in fact, Harrison came to New York. He came to Staten Island just a week before he died seeking treatment. George ended up dying in California, and Harrison ended up going to the same clinic that my father was being treated at. I think that had a pretty big impact on me. So as Theater Within's mission evolved, and I wanted to do something for communities in need, it seemed like the cancer community was a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this a therapeutic process for these folks?
Well, with a small T, I mean, we aren't therapists, but I think that creative expression, given the work that we do, songwriting programs and creative writing programs in art, cartooning, storytelling, all that, well, you know, you're a creative person, right? It has a transformational impact, and creative expression is essential to wholeness and well-being. So it's beautiful to bring that work to the cancer community.
Absolutely. And you know, I can imagine when you're going through something as intense as dealing with cancer and going through treatment, it can be hard to kind of find the energy to express yourself creatively. So to have a space that really encourages you to do that and prompts you to do that has got to be so great.
It's empowering for sure. We've also seen it meaningful across gender and ages. Children who've lost a parent to cancer have benefited from our programs. I mean, you talk about diversity. Cancer does not discriminate. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. So we serve a really diverse population in terms of age, gender, nationality, all of it. And we're reaching people in a way that is deeply meaningful to them, for sure.
Yeah. Now, you're based here on the East Coast down in New York City, but I believe this is a program that anybody can take advantage of, right?
Correct. That's the great thing. We do about 200 workshops per year. They're online. They're all online. They're all free. And to access our programs is pretty easy. You need to become a member of the Red Door community. I believe that website is reddoorcommunity.org. Red Door Community in New York City, formerly Gilda's Club NYC. And it's free. You can become a member online quite easily. And once you become a member of the Red Door community, you will have access to not only all of our workshops, but just a vast world of cancer support. So I recommend it highly for anyone who is impacted by cancer in any way.
Yeah, and again, that's in any way, not just folks who are fighting cancer themselves, but folks with loved ones fighting cancer who have lost loved ones. That's everybody, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Theater Within is the organization. I'm chatting with Joe Raiola. Tell me a little bit about the John Lennon Real Love Project, too.
Well, it's here. It's here. I laugh about it because the public school program was delayed by COVID. It was set to launch in 2020, and that set us back a bit. But finally, in June of 2021, the John Lennon Real Love Project elementary and middle school program launched in Sullivan County. And since then, we have brought this program to, I think, 16 schools. It's an amazing program in which the kids involved, they get a straight-ahead program about John Lennon's life story and his history and his music and his impact, all of it. And then they get to write new lyrics to Lennon's song Real Love, their own lyrics, and then they get to do something very cool. They get to record their own version of the song with John Lennon's original vocal and piano track, and that is something that only Paul McCartney and George Harrison and Ringo Starr have done previously.
Wow.
So it is a great program. And I will mention, since I'm on the radio with you now, we have not brought that program yet to a school in Ulster County or Dutchess County, and we are itching to do that.
All right. Yeah.
So the place to go, if any school person is listening, you want to apply for this program, you go to LennonRealLove.org. LennonRealLove.org or TheaterWithin.org, and learn about the program and fill out an application and take it from there. This is a wonderful program. I should mention, by the way, a video of each song written by the kids is created and posted online, and you can see the videos on our website as well.
Oh my God, I bet that's adorable.
It's cool. It's cool, and it's inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering how many of these kids go in knowing a lot about John Lennon, and how many of them kind of learn as they go?
Most of these kids don't know anything about John Lennon, which is one of the great things about bringing this program to schools, because in the 35 or 40-minute, I'll call it an online assembly program, they learn about Lennon, and it's not a whitewashed program. I mean, it's not something that turns Lennon into some mythical person who could never do wrong. I mean, John's life is covered, his divorce, the fact that he wasn't really there for his first son, some of the struggles that he went through, even his marriage with Yoko, and of course his very unfortunate death. It's all part of it. We really create. We tell the story of John's life appropriate for a young person to see and hear and engage in, and there's a lot to love about John and what he stood for, and what he said and how he said what he said.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. You know, I mean, I really think we need more honesty in the way that we teach, even young children. There's always, as you said, an appropriate way to explain things to kids. They understand and they can handle more than we realize, as long as we're telling them in a way that's, age appropriate for them. But, you don't want kids to grow up thinking that their heroes are these infallible people, because there are no infallible people.
This is true. On the other hand, there are some things that you can't quite touch. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when I was in school, we were introduced to Woody Guthrie. Mm-hmm. We were singing "This Land Is Your Land," and in school they didn't include the subversive verses of that song. We didn't learn that Woody was involved with the communists and all that. I mean, we just, we got a little taste of Woody, and the rest of it was on our own. I'd say we're a bit more transparent than that. But you're absolutely right. There are no infallible heroes. And you know what? Here's the truth. An infallible hero would be kind of boring.
Yeah, absolutely. They wouldn't be human.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't be human. Well said.
Joe Raiola is my guest. He is the artistic director for Theater Within. You can find information about them at theaterwithin.org, and also the John Lennon Real Love Project, which you can find at its own website or also theaterwithin.org, and of course the annual John Lennon tribute down in the city. If you or somebody that you love is affected by cancer, or if you are affected by cancer, highly recommend checking out theaterwithin.org. It is a free program for artistic workshops for self-expression, and just a really, really great resource for folks dealing with that. Did I cover everything?
For those interested in the annual John Lennon Tribute Charity Concert, now in its 43rd year, your place to go is lennontribute.org. This year's tribute, artist to be announced probably next month, will be on December 2nd at Town Hall in New York City.
Very cool. Well, Joe, thank you so much for taking the time today, and thank you for all you do.
Thanks, MK, for having me on.